Gentlemen, we're here. Ambitious Broker, thank you folks for joining us today. I'm with Michael Rodgers, Shawn, Elliot from Nest Seekers, and I think today is going to be an interesting show for you because we're going to talk about a very unusual business model, one that I've been really impressed with. And so these are the guys that are bringing it to you in L.A. and then the rest of the world, Shawn, Elliot. So thank you guys for taking the time. Thank you for coming out from New York.
Our pleasure.
Just to be with me.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
So real quick background here. First of all, Michael, in fairness, I've known you for 15 years or so.
20
years.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay. And so, you've been a past owner of a real estate company. I know a lot of people don't realize that you're also a musician. You've done some recordings. I've seen your albums. I've heard you sing. You're pretty good.
Thank you.
And, of course, your father was one of the most famous singers in history. Used my name. I don't know why he would do that, but he did. And then now you're managing the Los Angeles branch of Nest Seekers.
Yes, I'm the managing director of Nest Seekers International Beverly Hills.
Well, good to have you here, and we'll talk some more about it. And Shawn, you're out of New York. Salesperson, started a company.
Yes.
And then became a partner, member, director. I know that you're president of the luxury division now, the global luxury, ultra luxury division for Nest Seekers.
Yes.
I get that right? Okay. So your background then, was you started selling in New York?
Started in New York, primarily on Long Island, and then dipped into New York City, and then dipped into the Hamptons. And I used to work at Douglas Elliman.
Okay.
I was there for about a year.
Is that where you started?
Yeah. In 2002, I got my license.
Really?
At Douglas Elliman, and it was a great year. We sold 44 homes in my first year, similar to your experience earlier. I don't really mind saying it. I did $770,000 in gross commission, GCI.
First year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Didn't know a single thing about selling. Didn't know a single thing about selling homes. I sold sweaters before that. I was in fashion.
Right.
And, the 50% payout, then 55 and 60, 65. So the blend, was still $400,000 maybe for my first year in real estate. I didn't own anything.
So you worked at a company that gave you 50% commission.
50% commission.
And you still made $500,000.
Yeah. It was a sliding scale. Yeah. I think they maxed you out at 75% of Element back in the day. And it was fine for me. It's the first time I had done it. But I came from a business that was very inventory intensive.
Sure.
Meaning that if you, I was in fashion, so if you bought a sweater and I had retail stores for $50, you sold it for $100, you had needed inventory. And fashion changes constantly. In order to have the kind of inventory I needed, you have to have it, you have to pay U.S. Customs duty to bring it in from Europe. And the most important thing is you have to pay for it.
So you were the retail side, not the manufacturer.
I was on the retail side and have to be paid for in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And if you don't pay it, it's not a good thing. And merchandise gets spoiled like fruit. So you buy a sweater for 50 to sell it for 100 before you know you're knocking it down 20%, 30%, 40%, 50% off. So I got into this game of real estate because I was always intrigued by the commission check that the real estate broker, I bought a house, my first house in 1994. For $700,000. And at the closing, I saw this real estate agent. Her name was Bobby Berlin. And she got a check for $35,000 at the closing. And it made a big impression with me. Huh. And I actually found the house myself and picked up the phone and called her and said, I'm going to buy that house. She goes, you can't afford that house. It's $870,000. I was 30 years old. I go, well, don't tell me what I can afford and what I can't afford, but I can't afford $870,000. You're right. So when it comes down to $700,000, let me know. I'll buy it. 6 months later, she calls me up. She says, they'll do it at $700,000. And I said, you know what? Sure, I'll buy it. And we did. And that check left a lasting impression on me. Hence, I was in fashion for another, I think 15 years.
After that?
Before I got into real estate. So imagine that impression being back here for all that time, how I felt it was like easy money to her. She didn't own anything. She had no responsibilities, no obligations. She had no bills to pay, no electric, no retail storefronts, no rents, no employees, right? No salespeople, no merchandise to have to pay for in 30 days or 60 days. Yeah. Like, she just made $35,000. So that's how it started. And then
it's the one thing, I'm sorry to step on there. It's the one thing that I've talked about so many times with people is that this business gives you the most unbelievable opportunity. And then if you haven't owned other businesses, sometimes you don't realize how great it is. And then you lose your gratitude.
it's a gift from God.
It's a gift. Yeah, that's your point.
It's a gift from God.
I don't have a lease I got to sign up that's 5 years that I had to personally guarantee. I don't have employees. I don't have inventory. I don't have, and you can drive down Ventura Boulevard here or probably any street in New York and 90% of those retailers won't make as much as an agent has the ability to make with very little investment.
I mean, think about it. I have friends who own Dunkin' Donuts franchises, right? And you have to have a lot of franchises to make real money. But you can open up a Dunkin' Donuts store, cost $250,000 to build it, maybe $500,000 to build it. And you got to hire the staff, right? You got to payroll every 2 weeks you're responsible for. You got your landlord, all that stuff. And the stores throw off $100K a store. So think about that. You can do one real estate deal here in the Valley and make $100K in 30 days. Yeah. Yet you don't have to staff the store, build the store, worry about
such an opportunity. And that we forget that, right?
Yeah, it's insane. I saw the opportunity.
A lot of agents
take it for granted, yeah.
And the sense of entitlement from newer agents who see $1 million listing shows and they always put potential commission $280,000 and they think it's all show business, which obviously that is. There's nothing real about those reality shows. They're all produced and structured, the day-to-day grind, they don't see it. So,
well, I've always felt that, when I had my company is that if I had someone come to my company who thought like this person that's opening the Dunkin' Donuts, that I'm going to put $100,000 into my, fixtures or my office, my whatever it is, I prepare for some marketing, and I'm going to give myself, I'm going to start with a fixed overhead of whatever it might have been to run a Dunkin' Donut. It could be $20,000 a month, I would suppose, with rent and so forth. Yeah, right. And so now I got an overhead, and I've got an initial investment, and then I've got a monthly nut that I've got to crack before I make a nickel. And you bring that attitude to real estate, you're going to do really well.
It's amazing.
That's what you did.
Yeah. I was so shocked after having 14 retail stores. They were called Benetton at the time, and having to bring in millions of dollars worth of merchandise and pay for it before I even received it because it was from outside the U.S. So you paid what we call tariffs today, but U.S. customs, you pay duty, and then have to pay for it quickly. And then people would steal it from you, right? I mean, your employees are stealing from you. You got shoplifting, all this stuff going on. And no one's ever stolen a house from me. It just, no one's pulled it off the foundation. Everyone is there. And you know what? In a good market.
A couple listings here.
Yeah. But in a good market, houses appreciate in value. In a perfect world, your homes are supposed to go up, whether it's 3%, 5%, 8%, 10%, 12% annually. And in retail, it's the opposite, right? If I'm in fashion, that sweater you're wearing now is beautiful, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And maybe it's a $200 sweater, but after 30 days, maybe it's down, to 20% off. So it's $160 sweater, and then before you know it, it's 50 off. It's $100.
He doesn't know my wife.
But you know what? It doesn't work like that in real estate. So even if you in a great market, and I started in 2002, so 2002, 3, 4, 5, 6, we won't talk about the 7 and 8. Right. But if you overpriced a house at that time, even by 10, 15%, the market, right?
Caution.
Yeah. Every month, if the house went up 1% and it's 12% market, so if it's $1 million house, well, guess what?
$100,000 a year.
Yeah, exactly. So best business in the world, own nothing, pass a test, do it in less than a month in most states. Michael always says, you can get in the business for $350.
Right.
And
pay your due.
There's no ceiling. The amount of money you can make is completely endless. And if you work your ass off, and you have to work your ass off, you have to do the work, you could have the results.
I remember when I first started my training class, first week of training class was a 3-week class that I went to. And the last inspector, the last teacher on a Friday came in the class, and he says, I want you to know real estate is the easiest low-paying job in the world, or it's the hardest high-paying job in the world. Take your pick. And I always favored people who like to work hard and do well. They were more interesting, not to mention that, you make things happen.
I love that comment, by the way. Use that.
It's a good one.
It's a great one. And, People that know me that I've climbed fences of billionaire homes to present them with properties.
He's got to tell you some of these stories.
Marketing materials.
Yeah.
I have a great Mark Cuban story I could tell you. I thought he was the perfect buyer for a home I was selling here in Los Angeles. And just stories after stories. I have dogs chasing me because I'm trying to get to that client and deliver the marketing material for something I'm trying to sell. And the cold calling, the networking, the tipping of like, in this town, when I was trying to sell that $250 million house, I'd make friends with every captain of every valet. They give them 50s and 100s. And I say, listen, if you get a client in town that you know that can buy this house, a billionaire, you dial me up. And I had it all on lock. All the hotel managers of the Waldorf, of the Beverly Hills Hotel, the Bel Air Hotel, at the time, the Montage, they were all on speed dial. They all knew if somebody checked in to call Shawn Elliot, and that wasn't easy to do. And then the other thing, you have to get out and network.
Well, it's interesting you would say that because, one of the things I tell people is that, Bruce Lee says, be like water. If you've ever been in martial arts, and I say real estate, be like flypaper. When you see someone, make them stick to you and never let go of them, and you were doing that. I mean, the valet, and it's really brilliant.
I did the same thing with the mailman in Brentwood.
Same thing with mailman, yeah.
Anytime you see a house, it's look like not being repaired, the lawn's not being kept up. They see the letters coming and going, for bills or tax, whatever it might be changing. The neighborhood might be shifting a little bit. If you bring me a lead and I sell that house, I'll pay you $500. Well, I had all these mailmen, and they had my card, and they were calling me and giving me leads, saying, "Hey, she's thinking of selling."
So you're selling houses with Douglas Elliman. You decided to go on your own?
Yes, in 1 year.
In 1 year?
In 1 year, I had a great first year, and I had a nice team at Elliman. I had 2 or 3 agents who, I started immediately. Actually, I was the first selling Sunset. I surrounded myself with 4 beautiful women, and we created a real niche in New York where we would all dress in black at all times, and we conduct broker and public open houses in black. It was mandatory. And we wore headsets like we were in a Janet Jackson concert. And we would conduct open houses with our headsets on because they were big houses. And people would come to the front door. We'd have a mortgage broker at the front door to sign everybody in, give him an opportunity, right?
Sure.
But we're getting him for free, and he's getting something in return, maybe a potential mortgage. And we'd have people wait outside like they were at Regine's in New York City, or Studio 54. Like we had no one in the club, but we had the velvet rope, and we made everybody stay outside during the open houses. In 2002, 3, and 4 was a strong market. We'd have 30 people outside. And then we never left anybody unattended. And my girls came out, they were gorgeous. They were dressed in black, had the headsets on, and every single family that came got an individual tour and never left unattended. And the feeling that these buyers got was like, what the fuck is going on? Sorry, but like, how unique is this? Like,
you're now the third person that said that on a podcast.
The New York just came out.
Like, you know what? Like, how unique is this? I want this guy not only, to buy a house from him, I want him to sell our house. It was very unique. And that was at the end of Douglas Elliman. And then I decided I needed more responsibility in my life, more glutton for punishment. And I started my own firm. And that was in 2003.
So your initial group of people were really agents who supported your individual sales effort. They weren't people doing their own business so much?
No, they were new agents. They were just, great girls, loved them all. They happened to be beautiful inside and out. And they got it. They liked me and what I was doing. And they joined my team. And we went and made it happen. We had a lot of disciplines I started with. Like, I'm from a big business. I was president of retail for a big firm here in California. I've had, when I had my retail stores, I had, 700, 800 employees. So, I came from a big business. So when I got into real estate, I wanted to practice the same disciplines that I had in my retail business. And we came up with a whole set of disciplines, and they were fun. And
well, it's funny you say that because one of the things that I've kind of been disappointed about the real estate industry is we've gone away from everyone teaches individuality so much. It's all about you. It's all about you. And you started from day one. We're a team, and we're uniform. That's how we dressed in black. I mean, that's really saying we're gonna make an impression. We're gonna make an impression, and that's very difficult to do. And it would be so important to people to say, "There's nothing wrong with being we." Nothing wrong with being we.
So the one thing about
which is what I like about your excuse me, this net seekers model of yours a little bit. So
the one thing about net seekers, we use the power of we all the time. So, if I have a sale and I have 2 sales over 100 million in my, I don't know what you call my portfolio. I sold the house out here for 102 million. I sold the house in the Hamptons at 118 million. And what I let my agents do nationwide, globally, is that we sold a house in the Hamptons for $118 million. We sold that spec house in Bel Air for $102 million. And as a result, we grow together, right? All ships rise. I'm a big believer on that. And so even my assistant, like 2 years ago, my executive assistant at 25 years old, she made $300,000 as an executive assistant because she got a piece of every single deal on my team. And now I have a team of 20. I'm still the president of the ultra luxury division at Net Seekers. I still have responsibility of 2,100 agents, but my core team, which are my boots on the ground in these different markets that I trade in, these guys are rock stars, and I want them all to do well. I want everybody around me to do well.
Sure.
And they use the power of we.
So in starting your business up, and you obviously had a big sphere at that time coming out of retail, and all those businesses that you owned. That was a big part of your business, or were you door knocking?
I was door knocking.
No.
I started really small. I started in my neighborhood, right, where everybody knew me, and I'm a pretty nice guy, and I never burn bridges, and I'm a nice guy, and my wife's beautiful, and she's a great person, and we were like a power couple without even a business at the time, and we just were nice to everybody, and that's the start of it. We started in our own little town, and within the first year, we went on our own after I left LMN, and there were other companies like Sotheby's. We were the number one real estate office in our town first year, and it was because I think we were just nice to everybody, and we were great networkers, and we also delivered, right? So if we put your house on the market, I promised you A, B, C, and D.
Right.
We delivered A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, the whole way through the alphabet. So we exceeded your expectations. We made a lot of noise. We got your house sold, we believe, for more money and less time with better terms than anyone else. And that, I think, made a difference. And then we started to grow it. We went from this one little town we're in, right, where we live, to the next town, to the next town, to the next town.
And grew it through your individual business or your personal sales, or the company.
So I decided if I ever want to sell my company, I can't be the company. So I can't be the only guy selling. And so then we really brought on some significant agents. We grew really quick, and then we blew up. So we grew really fast to the point where we started.
And was your recruiting presentation something to the effect of, come work with me and I'll show you how I do it?
Yeah. Stand side by side. I'll mentor you. You can shadow me. Let's go. And we had disciplines in place. So like if you followed what I thought was the right way to get to the finish line, you got to the finish line.
Yeah. Did well.
Quickly.
So because we're limited for time here, I'd love to drill down on some of the stuff. We did a podcast with a guy named Jason Campbell out of Texas. The guy did $11 million year before last in personal sales. And he starts talking about...
Say 11 billion?
11 million, I'm sorry, in income. Oh. His personal income.
So that's billions.
In sales, probably, yeah. But he did 11 million in personal income. And he starts talking about personal service, and making that customer happy and so forth. And he starts talking stuff that, I've done this for a long time, and a lot of agents work for me. And he starts saying things that's just popping. Everything's new to me. And it was impressive. So if you ever want to get curious, go watch that guy and drill down on this treat the customer right stuff. Yeah, it's a really interesting guy. Looks like he's in ZZ Top. He's got a beard that comes down here. But anyway, so okay, so you built this company, started building it, and then how did you get into? Because your real brand personally is ultra luxury stuff. I mean, if you're going to sell $100 million house or $200 million, you got to call Shawn Elliot. You just have to, right?
Listen, I no one to work harder for you. That is absolutely for sure.
I don't have that house, by the way. I was just saying that.
When you did,
we've been filming one all week.
I mean, that's the concept, right? That you would call me, but at the end of the day, it's about relationships. And when I was selling that house, 924 Bel Air Road, which we originally did list at $250 million, it's the house with a helicopter on the roof and a 4-lane bowling alley and 3 movie theaters, 2 infinity pools, and it was on the market.
Because 2's not enough?
Yeah.
Got it.
But it really was overpriced from the onset. But my client wanted to make a big splash and come out at $250 million. It would be the most expensive house to sell in the United States, and so it got a lot of press. And it got a lot of good offers in the beginning, and we reduced it to 188, then 150, and ultimately with furniture and art, we got $102 million. But what I did learn through the process is that there were at $250 million, there's only 3,000 people in the world that could afford to buy that kind of house, and you have to be a billionaire. And in fact, you have to be more than just a billionaire to write a check for $250. It depends on liquidity and all that.
Sure.
So we decided
And to be able to pay the taxes annually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, if you got $250, you talk about 2%.
Yeah. $3 million a year in taxes.
Yeah. And then what about insurance?
Yeah.
Even then, before the fires and all that, the insurance was high. So yeah, you got to get a big well to do that, and you have to be strategic, and you have to have a plan, and we did. And my client was very strategic, and he was also willing to pay for all the marketing. So he, it's a 5% commission, but he put 1% aside, $2.5 million to market the house. So let's sit down and think about how we're going to sell a $250 million house. It's never been done before. How do we do it? So let's be strategic. So we figured, who are the buyers? Well, there's 3,000 billionaires in the world. 1,000 are phantom. Nobody knows who they are because they live in the Middle East. They live in Asia. And then 2,000 are notable. 1,300 reside outside the United States. 700 reside inside the United States. How do we get the email addresses, the cell phone numbers, the home addresses of all these people? So I spent 2 years of my life and 200,000 of his money building what I call the database of wealth. And if you go to my phone right now, this is actually pretty cool. And you go to your contacts, you type in billionaire, right?
There comes the list.
We won't know the numbers. But
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Hold on. You can't see it right now. You got it. Okay. If you type in billionaire and you go through, you got, Bill Ackman, and you got Benny Allergen. He owns a Waldorf, Ben Ashkenazi, big billionaire.
Yeah. What's his number?
Yeah.
Can you give me?
Bill Bell. Bill Bell's great. Like, for example, Bill Bell, I got to know him from networking. It's a great story. Now Bill's looking for property with me. I can't tell you where because then every other broker's going to call Bill.
Right.
But Bill Bell, do you know who he is?
No.
So 2 summers ago, he sold his house in Malibu to Jay-Z and Beyonce for $200 million. And I met him networking because I go out in the middle of the night to the best restaurants in this town, and I talk to everybody.
Sure.
And I'm talking to this couple. They're a nice couple. They're a little older. They're in their late 60s. And I hear them talking real estate with some girl, probably one of their friends. And I'm like, this is like music to my ears because I always talk to people. And I'll tell you one of my real estate tricks if you want to hear it.
Sure.
I do this and how I accomplish that. So we'll just start with, I'm in the restaurant, and every time I go to a high-end restaurant, the Polo Lounge, whatever, Craig's, Waldorf Rooftop, I'm talking California because I don't know if your audience is more California. I take a middle seat at the bar. That's my thing. So I've got 2 potential, one on the right, one on the left. So I'll start talking to the person on the right. I'll be like, so how you doing? Great. You ask somebody what they do for a living. I said, what do you do for a living? And they'll start talking for an hour till they're blue in the face about what they do for a living. Because people love to talk about what they do. And then after an hour of them talking about what they do for a living, 99 out of 100 times, they're going to ask you, what do you do for a living? And you say, I sell houses. And then that person either says, wow, that's so crazy. I'm looking to buy a house. I'm looking to sell a house, or I have a friend maybe looking to buy or sell a house. If they don't say that, they go, no, that's great. David, really nice meeting you. And you turn to the person on the left, right? And you go,
What do you do for a living?
what do you do for a living, right?
Yeah.
It's insane. I'm not kidding. And it works. Randomly, I didn't have to turn left. My ears are going crazy about this house they want to buy, and here and there and everywhere else. Like, I'm like, well, who are these people? Like, and they're talking like numbers, like Beverly Hills. I want to spend, I don't know, $25 million. I'm like, as a real estate broker, I'm like, this is music to my ears. Hence, the girl with them says to me, you don't know who you're talking to. Like, okay, that's fair. I don't, but I tell you, I just love what you guys are talking about. And they start talking real estate. And because I'm not just a local broker, I'm a global broker, I'm a global firm. I practice real estate in New York City, Long Island, the Hamptons, Miami Beach, Palm Beach, everything in between. I'm in from Bel Air to Beverly Hills.
Thus the we, thus the net seekers, thus
the global, I'm in the UK, I have properties there. I'm up and down the Côte d'Azur, South of France, Cap Ferrat, Cap d'Aille, Monaco, Monte Carlo, Saint-Tropez. I mean, like, I do it all. So they're talking this whole language, Paris. Like, whoa, this is crazy. So I wait to the end, and I said to now listen, let me tell you a little bit about my business, but I'd love to work with you. And so I have this thing. I pull the phone out of someone's hand. I'm like, so can I have your phone number? Let me have your phone. I'll put my number in or whatever. So he unlocks his phone, and instead of giving him my number and him never calling me, I call myself from his phone.
Their phone.
That's what I do.
It's a great. Let me see your phone. And you just
I call
pretend you're
myself,
looking
right?
at something.
And I'm pretending that I'm putting my number in his phone, but I'm actually calling myself. And I said I just call myself and send you my contact. What are you going to do back? You know what I mean? You're kind of done. So
that's a garment industry route right there.
Right.
You.
It's funny. He didn't know what a garmento was before, and I wasn't quite a garmento. I was in retail. But anyway, done and done. Great contact. We've been talking to the guy for a bunch of years. I mean, selling your house for $200 million. I think it's the most expensive house ever to trade in the state of California. And here I am, because of the networking and being in the right place at the right time and putting myself in the position of opportunity. Here I am. So that was great.
I think that's a good message. Really, is it was you were there casual, but it was purposeful too.
Of course,
very purposeful.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to. I love In-N-Out Burger, by the way. When I got here, I was here in 2000. I was president of a retail company in the city of Industry. I came as a 185-pound, 39-year-old that was ripped to shreds. I left at a 225 fat bastard because of In-N-Out. I used to go 5 nights a week. So. But yeah, I don't go In-N-Out to network, but I love In-N-Out to eat hamburgers and gorilla fries. But yeah, if depends what kind of business you want to be in and who you want your customer base to be and what price level you want to be at.
You got to put yourself in the middle of it.
You got to put yourself in the middle. Join the country clubs. If it's church or it's temple, whatever, associations, hobbies, you got to get them.
And so you find that in the ultra luxury market that it's the same game.
It's the same game whether you're selling a house for $1 million, $10 million, or $100 million.
Right. Well, thank you for that. It's inspiring, actually. I mean, if somebody's in real estate and they can't get a little juice from that story and know, because you hear it over and over. And then the thing is, you met somebody at the bar, I'm guessing, who not only you sold a house to, but ended up being another 2 or 5 or 6 sales that 30 million or something.
Not that night, but yeah, I mean, I've done that multiple times, and it's great. There's nothing like it. It's not so hard going out to dinner at a great restaurant, and even if, like, my father used to do this, right? So my father taught me a lot. He's a genius, and really, he was my mentor. He was in fashion. And, when he was dating, he used to tell me, because he had no money, he'd go to the best places where the best women were, right? And he goes, I couldn't afford to drink, so I would just get one drink, probably club soda and a lemon, and just sip the whole thing all night, but ultimately, I guess it seemed like I was drinking. I don't know. But, he did that a lot. He was really an interesting guy, good at merchandising. And I think real estate's a lot about merchandising too.
And yourself. And, since we have such limited time here, I want to get into your company, your companies, Nest Seekers. Because, I'll be honest with you, I've worked at a lot of different companies out there, one way or the other. And when I met you and you gave me the lowdown on Nest Seekers, I was legitimately intrigued. And I'd like you guys to share a little bit about, you started by selling your company to Nest Seekers, I believe, right? And when you made that sale, was there something about the idea that Nest Seekers offered something that you wanted to be part of? That's why you sold? Was that a piece of it?
So I was at a point where I was eating everybody's lunch and like Sotheby's and Christie's. It was so easy. We were doing it for so many years. We had strong market share. It wasn't fun for me anymore. It wasn't exciting. And I really didn't want to run a company anymore. I just didn't. I didn't want to run. I didn't want to have that responsibility. I like to be an agent much more. It turned out to be much more than that for me. But when I ended up selling to Nest Seekers and we merged, I wasn't president of anything. I didn't have, wasn't on salary, didn't have any kind of benefits or anything like that. But it kind of evolved into more of a big responsibility. Then all of a sudden I got conned into becoming the broker of record with the state of California because I'm a nerd, I'm a book smart guy, and I could pass a test. And here I am doing that. my savior, Michael, to my right. There's no one like him. I'm so thrilled he's on board. But back to your question, it was the best platform I saw. And there are other companies. And by the way, I wasn't huge. I was really more of a niche marketing firm selling houses. I'm a marketing guy. It's my thing. I'm a marketing guy. And so I wanted to be known as a marketing guy. I sized down the company because I got that California opportunity. And finally, I realized that all these companies in New York City that said, we're in New York City and we're in the Hamptons, but we're not in the middle, which is called Long Island. And we'd love to be involved with you. But no one had the vision of Nest Seekers, the platform that I wanted to be a part of, and truly wanted to be a global company. Eddie Shapiro is a genius. He had the vision. He's a visionary. And I loved his vision. I thought it was insane. I thought it could be great. I could be a part of it because I wanted to be all over the place. I didn't want to be that local agent. And that point of difference is going to, at the end of this conversation, you'll understand why our agents can compete against anybody.
Right.
Being global versus local.
Yeah, I can actually see that. And Michael, you were part owner of a office before and active in selling and so forth. Now you took on this job as manager. You competed against a bunch of people to get the job. And what was it about you that excited you? Hey, I'm going to get into this model. And you, it's okay to say, I'm assuming your previous company that you're a partner. I mean, you were with Keller Williams, and at that time, they were kind of the up and coming thing. I mean, they went from
2005 Keller Williams here in the Valley in Northridge. I was a core group member, co-owner.
Yeah,
you were there. We built it from 5 of us to 180 agents in a couple of years, and then I had my own separate market center, and I love that model. We were the new kids in town. Everybody was nervous. And we used to say that if they're talking about us, even if it's to show that we have very little market share, at least we're one of the 5 on their postcard about what they think we're not doing. But I really enjoyed the profit share side of it. I locked in on that. And then as I started to develop my career, and build my business, my personal book of business, mostly through entertainment business clients, I really saw the value in what an agent brings to the table. And many companies, they say they're agent-centric, but they're really broker-centric.
Yeah.
And I saw that a lot. And so when I started looking at other opportunities for leadership, and you knew me when I went to Honduras and I had my company there in the Western Caribbean, and I tried to bring some of that same sensibility to Central America, and they weren't ready for it. Right. But most importantly for me, it's the fact that you seize opportunity, you make opportunity, and many times in the music business, you're only as good as your last hit, or whatever success you had.
Real estate is the same way.
It is. It's the same way.
As good as they'll have the else. There it is.
And so for me, it was one of those things where I want to market like the entertainment business does. We're dealing with high dollar product, dealing with the public, managing expectations, managing emotions, creating emotions. When you bring buyers into a home, reading the room, reading the audience, what are they responding to? How do you pivot the conversations to those? And I see a lot of
Shawn's made an entertainment business for sure.
Yeah.
Starting at the bar.
His work is exceptional. And so when I learned about Nest Seekers and this opportunity to take my career after 26 years more into a global side of things, which I had been doing. I'd sold in the Bahamas, and I'd sold in the Caribbean. I'd sold in many different regions of the world. But I always had to have a marketing agreement in place and then find a broker in those areas to partner with that I probably could not trust, and to show the properties and then get payment. And, it was challenging to do that.
So there's a global reach sort of that you like.
I locked in on that.
Okay.
And so Nest Seekers International is truly that. There's no franchises. There's 75 offices in 24 countries on 4 continents, owned by one gentleman, Eddie Shapiro. He owns the whole company. It's vertical, no debt, no franchise. And yet I have a client in Bel Air asked if I could help sell their family home in Búzios, Brazil. I can say confidently, yes, I will do that. And that listing in 2 months ago has now branched into 5 Brazilian listings for me. And I have a listing coming up in New York, an apartment in Brooklyn. And I can call the other managers of these offices around the world and connect, and then we collaborate.
Yeah.
And
I think
it's seamless.
that was an interesting thing, is that there was the ability to have this marketing platform that could be global.
Correct.
I mean, you've got, your video production, the TV stuff. You guys are connected to a lot of TV stuff.
Yeah, Nest Seekers has it's a marketing company with a real estate brand, a television brand with Nest Media that's shown all over the world on Netflix and Bravo and HBO, with selling the Hamptons television show, $1 million listing New York, LA, selling Sunset. He's been on, one of our agents in the office has been featured on that show a number of times. And then they have the Nest Jets, which is a private jet brokerage, Nest Yachts, and we're headed to Italy and France in about a week to go to the Monaco Yacht Show, and that's where the clients are. That's where the money is.
They're great.
We're going. You go where the clients are, and the saying is, we are everywhere, and it's because it's true. And I'm looking forward to meeting clients that we speak the same language and that we can bring value to.
So you're an agent in your company is going to be able to obviously help sell a home.
Correct.
But they can have a connection to jets.
Yeah.
Make money on that.
And yachts. The yachts, 10% commission if an agent sells a house in Redondo Beach or Newport, and there's a slip in the back, and that client also has an interest in boats. We can sell the yacht, and the agent makes the 10% commission.
So tell me why, if I got a house to sell, I'm going to go to Nest Seekers and use you guys over
I'll
Douglas
tell you,
Elliman.
Local, all those companies have
I don't want you to answer that question.
They have their strengths.
Huh?
But my take on it is this, and what I always say is local expertise, global reach. Most of our buyers in these properties, 10, 15, 20, 30, the house we've been filming all week is a $100 million listing in Beverly Hills. They're not coming from Los Angeles. They're coming from overseas in France, Japan, China, the Swiss Alps, anywhere in the world, they're coming. Beverly Hills, there's only one Beverly Hills. So I told my agents this, you are in the epicenter of luxury and wealth. Walking up and down Cannon Drive in front of our office, and you were there. Yeah. It's an amazing experience. This little
I watched them stop and look.
They stop and they look. And I picked up $400 million in listings 2 weeks ago from that window.
Yeah.
One guy.
Isn't that insane?
It's insane.
No other company really provides those kind of locations. And to have those type of locations and pay those kind of rents, you need a strong company dollar.
Yep, you do.
So let's talk about that, the company dollar side.
Let's do that.
Speak to that. Because it's important. It's really important.
Yeah, and by that we mean that your company provides so much support that the commission structures aren't going to be like some of the 100% offices or some of these kinds of things. But people end up on their own, And that's one of the things I told you when we first met is that the way that the industry over the last couple of decades has been promoting it's all about you, and then you end up with 10,000 different companies in the San Fernando Valley,
individual brands.
And how do I differentiate myself over 10,000 companies? It's insane to think that you can do it, but this idea that you can pull together as a we again and say, well, collectively, if we all throw in an X amount of dollars a month, we can promote this overall brand that then helps me directly. It's my $100 in that contribution goes a lot longer. And in your case, you guys are saying, well, we take a little bit more money off the top, but we're spending it, and we're spending it in ways that's going to come filter down to you real fast.
Correct. And agents understand, well, some of them do. Some of them haven't quite captured the mentality on it that they'll fight me on a recruiting basis. Well, I want the extra 5%. I want this. I want that. And they're stepping over dollars to get to pennies. Yeah. And so we, like a Keller Williams or a Sotheby's, which are really just franchises, even Sotheby's or Christie's, the name is has a luxury side of it, but it's a franchise. Our agents don't pay a franchise fee. They don't pay E&O insurance. They don't pay desk fees or monthly fees.
Yeah.
We cover their marketing. We pay for their photo and video sessions for their properties. So already at a 65% split, let's say, they get the full 65.
Right. And my experience with that has been when people leave getting those services to get the higher split, they typically stop doing those things.
Right.
Because they don't want to write the check. So then their business suffers because they're not doing a high quality this or a high quality that.
I built my business, my first company, out of, with the highest company dollar on the planet. But I offered my agents, who I consider my clients, right, all the tools and services, and I say the weapons of mass destruction to make them super successful. Yeah. And I paid for everything as a firm because I never want my client to be compromised based on the well-being of the real estate agent. And so a real estate agent anywhere in the world, I don't care, to your point, when they first get a listing, they're writing checks, they're excited, the first 30 days, maybe 45 days, but by 60 days, they're not interested in writing checks anymore. So guess who suffers? The client suffers, the homeowner suffers. Right. So at Net Seekers.
And the brokers suffer.
Yeah. But at Net Seekers, because we pay for all the marketing, right? The client never suffers. The home has a continuous marketing plan from the day you list it to the day of the closing. And
there's a consistent theme from your company that gives you a sense of identity. I mean, you have a consumer-facing brand that way, I think, where, there's a consistent quality about everything that you put out from agent to agent. And that speaks well of your brand.
And here's what's interesting to me. We're opening an office in Athens later this month. We have offices all over the world. But when the Net Seekers went to Beverly Hills, and they opened that office, people already knew who Net Seekers was before we opened. When Net Seekers went to London, because of the television shows, because of the reach of the media side of things, they already knew who Net Seekers was. Now, not everybody knows who Net Seekers is. Net Seekers, what's that? I know Coldwell Banker, I know Remax, I know Keller Williams. But our clients know who we are because they're upper echelon, a little more sophisticated family offices, wealth management firms, families who resonate in that world a little bit more. And then as we educate our agents, they're better positioned to educate the client. I have people walk across the street and I'm standing in front of our office saying, oh, hey, there's Net Seekers.
Because they pick it up from the TV
they see
stuff.
It on television.
Yeah, various marketing.
See it. Aren't you guys in New York? No, we're global. We're everywhere.
Yeah, 24 countries, 70 offices.
Here's the difference. Here's the value proposition. You're a homeowner in Bel Air, Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, and you're an agent in Net Seekers, and you're up against an agent from a third-party company. And that agent might work at, the We Agency, and, those guys kill it. They knock it out of the park. And maybe they're at Beverly Hills Estates, another, again, amazing team. We knock it out of the park. Here at Carrollwood, Rodale Realty.
Hilton Highland.
And at the end of the day, truly, they're all local companies.
Right.
They're local. I mean, even Sid, who I love from Rodale, he's got 14 offices and 1,400 agents, but he's local, right? I mean, it's Hilton Highland, who I love, local, and Carrollwood, great new firm, basically born from Hilton Highland, local. Yeah. So when we go in, it's great. If somebody comes into town and looking to buy a house, there's a likelihood they'll end in one of the local firms. But no one in this business, all these local agents and brokerages, they don't basically have the reach that we have. They don't even come close. And they don't go out of town trying to find the buyer. So if the buyer doesn't come into town, the likelihood of getting a buyer is zero. We do a couple things that are amazing. First of all, you're with a global company, and our reach is insane. We have 75 offices, as Michael said. But what we have is we have the reach. And we have 2,100 people in 75 offices who are going to know about your property. And if they hear of someone that wants to buy in Beverly Hills, you better believe they're sending them to you. The marketing's happening in 75 different offices. And like we said, in how many countries do we have? 24?
Well, see, it's interesting because, like you said, if you think about the reach and awareness of your organization on a per person basis, I mean, you you've got 2,100 agents worldwide. So the density is pretty low.
Yeah.
Right. And yet you have all that awareness. And it speaks to marketing. Most marketing is done through masses of numbers of people. EXP now has 80-some thousand people. Keller Williams, 180,000 people or something. And Anywhere's got this whole network of multiple companies and stuff like that.
They're all franchises. They're all affiliates, and they don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
Here you got 70 managing directors. I think Michael's one of the best ones. And, all talking to each other all the time. Zoom
right on
calls,
my phone.
Annual Zoom calls. I do on monthly Zoom calls.
Weekly WhatsApp.
Yeah. We're all talking to each other all the time. And it's that communication. Does anybody have a customer for Athens, Toronto, Tel Aviv, Abu Dhabi, Portugal?
Right.
Switzerland.
Yeah, we're everywhere. But at the end of the day it works. Our clients love it. And the agents.
So the communication, like that network, is a really important part of it. Are you promoting properties within that way as well? So you guys have a whole tech platform that you can promote your stuff on.
You invested $3 million many years ago in our platform. Eddie Shapiro has invested millions of dollars into our tech. Now with AI, now we have something called Eva. Eva is actually very much like Siri, or what's the other one called from Amazon? Alexa. It most happens to be that Eva is our CEO's daughter. And so he called it Eva. And there's so much you could do from virtual staging. Can you imagine that today with AI and Eva, you send the photographs or you upload them into our backdoor at Nest Seekers, and in 15 minutes, the whole house is staged at no expense to the agent. Do that. Agents are paying $100 a photograph.
Yeah.
To stage a room.
Yeah. And every listing's got that quality of promotion.
We don't have a vendor. We don't allow agents to hire their own photographers. We have vested and vetted, I should say, vendors for photography. All of, we even have our own public relations person at Beverly Hills.
Right.
So if we have a little bit of a cachet, a celebrity property or anything like that, we rent it over there, and next thing you know, we're in Us Weekly, People, Variety, Wall Street Journal. They cover that.
Right.
The most important thing that I've noticed, and the biggest shift, is getting the agents to really learn how to leverage that tech. But I showed you.
Everybody's got that issue.
Yeah, I took you through the system and showed you, if I want to know what the market share is in Spain, and I click on Spain, immediately I see up to the minute what the 2 bedrooms are selling for, rents, all of that.
And your platform, CRM systems and a whole, you can do all my marketing. It's
Ava books my appointments for me and schedules my calls.
Oh, is that right?
From leads.
That's your Ava.
Goes right into my contacts and my calendar.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And she communicates, sends emails out as me. She's learning my voice as far as how I speak and what I write. And she'll communicate out and respond and set appointments based on leads that come in through the system.
Well, I'm not sure how we're doing time-wise here, but how are we doing, Shawn?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay, good. We got a little bit more time to talk about the sales side of what you did. So, and by the way, I flattered that you guys have talked to me about this, and I'm really impressed with the platform as I get to know more about it, and I hope I do. I enjoyed that you gave me that tour, and I think people should take a look at it. They really should, and it's very intriguing. So, but back to the sales side and all the people in the world out there, you clearly, from an outsider looking in, have mastered networking. I don't hear you knocking on doors per se, or licking stamps and mailing out envelopes to people anymore.
No, we do it.
You do it.
We still do it. We have a machine in our New York office. My team has a machine, and it's crazy. Like, we send out postcards as one of our disciplines to the areas that we farm, but mostly in the areas that we have successes in, because this is a business of leveraging your successes. So if we have a town that we sold the most expensive house in the history of that town, we will beat that horse to death. We will send postcards forever until someone beats that number, saying, hey, if you're putting your house on the market, put it on the market with the company or the team that has the highest price in your neighborhood.
Right.
Why list with anyone else? So that's just one postcard.
So snail mail.
Yeah, and we're doing it. And then we also do, so now when we can't get a postcard fast enough, we have our interns writing or printing letters and handwriting envelopes with stamps so they get open, opposed to some things that look like they're trashed, get trashed, right? So we still do all that. And then we have agents in the office who just call expired for us. So we're old school. We're still doing the ABCs of real estate, and we're also doing it in a high tech way. And my networking skills are good. And, again, always putting ourselves in a position of opportunity, myself, my teammates and all. I appreciate it every day of my life, but we do the old school as well. All the disciplines.
Right. Tell me, what would you advise someone, either of you, someone starting brand new in real estate today, and they come to you and they go, what do I do? Got my license, got a few bucks saved up, can pay for gas, got a car. Where do I go? What do I do?
Join Nest Seekers. That's what I said.
I love that. Yeah. I second the motion.
Step one. You got two people agree on that. Doesn't surprise me.
Expand your world a little bit. My first listing came, I was teaching tennis at Mountain Gate Country Club 27 years ago. I came off the court. One of the members came out of the locker room, and I was going to my second class, my principal's class. I had 4 hours the night before. I was going to next 4 hours that night. And I'm dressed up. I figured I better wear a nice sport coat and go into class, real estate. She said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to my real estate class. She says, well, maybe you can help me sell my building. I said, of course I can. When would you like to talk about that? Right. No idea what I was talking about. Right. But we set a meeting. I found a broker here locally in the Valley. Said, who's your number one agent? I want to meet them. He and I met in front of the house that following Thursday. I gave him a referral agreement. I got 70, he got 30. We listed a $1.6 million condo development in Pasadena. I drove up and down the street. Didn't have a license. Hadn't even, I was just study for the test.
Do you want to call DRE about that?
Yeah, well, I drove up and down. It was in his name.
There's a statute of limitations on this. You're okay, yeah.
It was in John's name, you and John Barker. Yeah. It was in John's name. And then I drove up and down the street and I saw another construction site. I said, you looking for another project? Guy says, yes. I said, I'll show you one. And
as it starts,
we double-ended it.
So, but still, you
just got to say
question.
Yes.
I come to you,
say yes.
Okay, but I come to you, I sit down, I go, what do I do tomorrow? Tell me my plan. How am I going to start off? Because this is a different real estate world. We got Zillow and stuff today. We always talk about
sphere of influence, calling everybody saying I'm in real estate, this is what I'm doing. I always like to ask the question, who do you know that I should know? Whether it's a billionaire client like he sits down next to, who do you know that I should know? Or just a relationship that you're developing or maybe building on that. I'm back to basics, but I'm also about just engaging everybody. It just takes one transaction and then you leverage off of that. Even if the house is overpriced at first, you can still leverage it into more opportunity. How about Shawn? What do you think?
Network and network and network more. You have to be out and about. You're not going to be sitting at home with a laptop in your bed, finding a buyer or seller. You have to be out and about and asking for the business. Again, it's a numbers game, I used to go out when I was a young guy and,
But you were knocking on doors. Yeah. Would you knock on doors again today?
I knock on doors right now.
Yeah.
I knock on doors.
You got people knocking on doors. Yeah.
I always knock on doors.
Well, we do it in a big way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do it in a big way. We knock on doors. You want me to show you a way to knock on doors?
Sure.
Okay. So how do you find a buyer for a $100 million house, right? You'll like this. So when I'm in the Monaco Yacht Show, and I've been to the Monaco Yacht Show 7 out of the last 8 years as a discipline, because the whole world of wealth descends on Monaco during those 4 days. It's now, if you're going to go with your wife, it's $1,500 a day for 4 days, $6,000 just to get a ticket for the yacht show. So it separates the men from the boys, right?
Yeah. I heard someone paid $15,000 when I was there to watch the race, to stand on the side of the road to watch the race.
Oh, that's Formula One.
Yeah, Formula One. Yeah.
But anyway, so let's find this fun little thing. If I could whip it up right now.
But this was kind of interesting. You go to your phone, you go, let me see the billionaires, and then up come the billionaires. Do you have a subcategory like, let me see the people worth 100 to 150 million?
I do. So I happen to be very disciplined on my phone. I have folders for everything. I'm in a file folder right now for Monaco, but Yeah, I have VIPs, VVIPs, celebrities, billionaires, and it's all sort of set up that way. So when I have an event or something, and maybe I think it's more of a celebrity-driven event, I'll hit the celebrity list up and text them and that kind of thing. And yeah, but
What an interesting idea, like you said, too, because you're just basically tagging your contacts. So
when I
you
get
can
something
search
new
them,
and
right?
interesting, and I serve it up to them because people don't wake up in the morning and say, "Hey, I want to buy $100 million house." Like, right, it doesn't work like that. You have to serve up this opportunity to them, and they go, "Wow, this house is amazing. How much is it? $100 million? Well, okay, I could afford that." But door knocking, that's where we were. So in Monaco, and I love it there so much. You've got Port Hercules. You got the Monaco Yacht Club, and you've got extremely wealthy people looking to buy extremely expensive boats. So, but the big boats are out in the Med. They're too big to even be in the yacht show.
Right.
So what I do is, sharing some trade secrets, but no one else is going to do this. I rent a tender for, $5,000 for the day, and I go out into the Mediterranean to the mega yachts. And this is a little video of me going out into the Med.
Oh, send me this. I'm going to show it to our people in the.
Sometimes people don't know. They don't wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm looking to buy a $150 million house in the Hamptons. Sometimes they don't wake up and say, hey, I need to have a house in St. Bart's or Bel Air, Palm Beach, or New York City. But guess what? We serve it up to them so that all of a sudden they open up this book. They see the properties on the back. You open up the book. It tells you a little bit about me. And then the video starts. And this video that you're looking at right now is 12 minutes long, showcasing 2 minutes apiece of all of these properties.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you,
You're going to love the end.
my 4th year at the yacht club,
A couple of years
there's
now.
nothing I'd rather do and no place I'd rather be. And my job is to get our marketing material for our ultra luxury portfolio at Nest Seekers on that boat, because that guy is a billionaire. For the owner.
Podiona, that's door knocking.
That's my door knocking. And the next one
And
is,
people complain about walking up and down hills.
yeah. The next one is hilarious. The next one, these are $100 a piece. These books.
Yeah, I started to say it's something that they're not going to throw in the trash.
Watch this. I hope I make it to the. Can I throw something at you?
Oh,
Okay. $100 each. I'm going for it. Give it to your owner.
oh, to make it?
Here's a replay.
So,
Okay.
on television in the United States. Congratulations, great guys.
I'm going to show that video. I'm going to show the video in our clip here.
So that's my door knocking, and I do it many ways, but that's just one of the
but
ways. I do it.
and that is the thing. It is door knocking.
Yes.
It's
a
all
different
door
door.
knocking. Just a
kind of
different door, different kind of door, different kind of way to get there.
You have to get in front of people. And he's been chased out by dogs. He's been,
Yeah.
I think he got arrested one time.
Maybe. But I'll tell you, next time we get together, I'll tell you the Mark Cuban story.
Tell me now. Let's finish it with that. Because
So now you're trying to sell a $250 million house, right? And not easy to do. We all know that. And so it was Bel Air, 50-yard line, the best views in Bel Air, every amenity imaginable in this 38,000 square foot house built by a genius, Bruce Makowski. The home is ridiculous. It's definitely the best house I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a lot of houses. And who's the audience? We know that they're a billionaire, but then we think, who's the lowest hanging fruit, right?
right.
How do they get
Easy to
this
see it
sold?
too.
How do I get this sold in 30 days? So I'm thinking Mark Cuban. I'm like, have you ever seen the movie, not the TV show, Entourage?
Sure.
Okay. So
So just Mark Cuban just popped in your brain.
Mark Cuban, I'm thinking, he's a young guy. Oh wow, I found it. He's a young guy, and he loves basketball, and he loves toys, and he loves cars, and he loves everything the best of the best. And he's doing Shark Tank, so he's in town, at least once or twice a month doing Shark Tank.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Mark Cuban. So I said, okay, how am I going to get to Mark Cuban? So I know he owns the Dallas Mavericks, right? I know there's 51 home games at a Mavericks game, right? So I get on a jet, and I take this $900 book that our client and I and our team prepared, this presentation, $900 each. And I had decided to go to a Mavericks game. I bought a floor seat for $2,000. My son had bought a $100 seat to film this from up above, because we actually went there, and I sat right behind the bench, and I have that video as well. And there's 55 home games in the NBA. The one home game that Mark Cuban decides not to attend is the one I spent $2,000 on ticket, right? So then what I do This is really interesting. I find 4 of Mark's hottest cheerleaders, and I have the marketing material right here. And I have my marketing team in New York in 15 minutes make something up that looks like this, with my driver's license, by the way, to say to Mark, I'm not a stalker or anything like that. And in it, and I wrote this little note. I said, hey, Mark, my name is Shawn Elliot. I came all the way here from New York to get 15 minutes of your time to give you the first look at the most spectacular, most expensive home for sale in the United States. I'll be in town all weekend. Please give me a call, Shawn Elliot. So he didn't call. So, but wait, it gets better. So then after doing that, I think you'll really appreciate this. I went to Maverick headquarters, and I figured, well, if he's not at the stadium, maybe he's at the office. And I went to Maverick headquarters, spent another $900, dropped off another book at Maverick headquarters. And then the best of all, and I think this video really says it all.
And didn't you take a picture at the desk?
I did. I have pictures of the desk in my phone, which is fine. And then finally, with no luck there, I went to Mark's house in Dallas and rang the doorbell on the gates. Yeah. And it was Halloween. So you went trick-or-treating at Mark Cuban's house with my $900 book. Now I'm $2,700 deep with 3 presentations, but rang the doorbell, and some big security guard comes to the gates. I have the video. I can always send it to you. And can I help you? And I'm like, yeah, it's this Mark Cuban's house. Who wants to know? I said, no, it's Shawn Elliot. He knows me my whole life. I used to be at CBS, NBC. Oh, yeah, I make up a bunch of stuff, whatever I got to say, right? And he goes, I have a present for Mark, and you give it to him. The gates open. I hand him the presentation, and 20 minutes later, the phone rings. And he's like, who are you? I go, Shawn Elliot. He goes, no, I know who you are, but who are you? And I said, well, I'm the guy who wants to sell you, the most expensive house in the world. And he goes, I was at the stadium. He goes, I know. I go, I was at the office. He goes, I know that. He goes, you're amazing. I go, and thank you very much. Anyway, he goes, I'll never spend more than $25 million on a house anywhere. And I would never move to California because the state taxes is too much. But, great try. And, and I've served up stuff to him ever since, because when you call someone, unless you call someone from an unknown number, you now capture their number. So now I own his number. And, but he's a really nice guy, and he deserves all the success he has. And, that's what I do. And that's what I did. And I did it again. I went through the whole state of Texas that week with a SUV, a Yukon, full of the books. And I met with every billionaire in Texas.
That's door knocking. That's doing whatever it takes. So I had a real quick story along that line. A friend of mine, agent, who was a huge USC football fan, and she got to know Lane Kiffin really well as a booster. She was president of a SC Boosters fan. Lane Kiffin was the one of the coaches. He eventually got the head coaching job with the Raiders. She lives in the Bay Area. So she hears about him getting this job, knows that he knows her a little bit, and she says, I'm going to go sell the guy a house. So she drives over to Raiders headquarters, and she walks in. She says, I'm here to see Lane. And she says, the receptionist says, well, sit down, I'll see what I can do. She sit there all day long.
It's like Bud Fox and Gordon Gekko.
8 hours. 8 hours. She sits there, and he finally comes out. Oh, Renee, how you doing? And says, well, I've already bought a house. I'm sorry, I should have thought, and that turned into about 8 or 9 sales of Raider players and management, stuff like that. Because she just went there, and and everybody's like, "Are you kidding me? You're going to go sit all day long?" And she did it. So I mean, that's the story. It's you're a remarkable guy, Shawn. Congratulations. Thank you both for taking the time, driving out. We appreciate it. I do. I think it's good stories. I'd love to go through a bunch of these things with you if we had time, but
thanks for having us
again. Yeah. So, Nest Seekers, you're in Beverly Hills. Michael Rodgers, if anybody wants to reach you, and thank you guys again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks seeing you, my friend.
Yeah. Likewise.